It's an honor to have King Abdullah with us. He's been a friend of mine for a long time, actually, long before even my first term. And we've had a great relationship. He's a great gentleman, a great leader, and does a fantastic job in his country. His son, we're lucky enough to have his handsome son with us today, so it's good to see you again. We've had some quick discussions just now, and we're going to have some longer discussions after this. And the relationship with Jordan has been very strong, has been with me, and it really has been with the country. But I think I've been closer than other presidents to Jordan and what Jordan represents. And it's an honor to have you and your son with us today. And if you'd like to say a few words, and thank you very much.
Mr. President, thank you very much for having us, and so short after your inauguration, I think just as a testament to what you said is a special relationship between our two countries and the personal relationship of friendship and trust between the two of us. Mr. President, I truly believe that with all the challenges that we have in the Middle East, that I finally see somebody that can take us across the finish line to bring stability, peace, and prosperity to all of us in the region. And it is, I think, our collective responsibility in the Middle East to continue to work with you, to support you, to achieve those lofty goals. So I'm very delighted to be here, and as you said, sir, we've got some very interesting discussions ahead of us.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, many people in the region, especially Jordan, are worried about the annexation of the West Bank. Will you give His Majesty the King guarantee that you won't allow Israel to annex the West Bank? And how are you going to?
I think that's going to work out very well. That's not really what we're talking about today. I think that's something that's going to work out automatically, and it's in good shape. And we discuss it, and other people have discussed it with us and with me. That's going to work out. West Bank is going to work out very well.
Mr. President, why should the King take in the Palestinian people? He's made clear he doesn't want to.
Well, I don't know, but he may have just something to say, because we discussed just briefly. I think maybe you want to say it now, or?
Well, Mr. President, I think we have to keep in mind that there is a plan from Egypt and the Arab countries. We're being invited by Mohammed bin Salman to discussions in Riyadh. I think the point is how do we make this work in a way that is good for everybody? Right. Obviously, we have to look at the best interests of the United States, of the people in the region, especially to my people of Jordan. And we're going to have some interesting discussions today. I think one of the things that we can do right away is take 2,000 children that are either cancer children or in a very ill state to Jordan as quickly as possible, and then wait for, I think, the Egyptians to present their plan on how we can work with the president to work on the Gaza challenges.
So
I want to tell you that, excuse me, wait, just please. I didn't know that, what you just said, 2,000 children with cancer or other problems, and that's really a beautiful gesture. That's really good, and we appreciate it. And we'll be working on the rest with Egypt. I think you're going to see some great progress. I think with Jordan, you're going to see some great progress. Three of us, and we'll have some others helping, and we're going to have some others at a very high level helping, and the whole thing will come. It's not a complex thing to do. And with the United States being in control of that piece of land, a fairly large piece of land, you're going to have stability in the Middle East for the first time. And the Palestinians, or the people that live now in Gaza, will be living beautifully in another location. They're going to be living safely. They're not going to be killed, murdered, and having to leave every 10 years, because I've been watching this for so many years. It's nothing but trouble. Everyone's being killed. They're being robbed. It's like living in hell. And they're going to end up having a great home, great families that don't have to get mugged and killed and beaten up and harassed by Hamas and everybody else. And I know we'll be able to work something. And what you just said about the 2,000 is fantastic. It's so beautiful. It's music to my ears. But we're going to be able to work something, and I know we'll be able to work something also with I believe, not 100%, but 99%. We're going to work out something with Egypt.
But Mr. President, during your election campaign, how is the U.S. going to own Gaza? Your White House has made clear taxpayer dollars won't be used for this. So what money are you going to use to buy Gaza?
We're not going to buy anything. We're going to have it, and we're going to keep it, and we're going to make sure that there's going to be peace and there's not going to be any problem, and nobody's going to question it. And we're going to run it very properly, and eventually we'll have economic development at a very large scale, maybe the largest scale on that site. And we'll have lots of good things built there, including hotels and office buildings and housing and other things. And we'll make that site into what it should be. And the people from Gaza who wouldn't be able to be there for years, because you're talking about just to get it and prepare it and to take care of all of the problems that currently it has, as you know, tunnels, and people are in those tunnels, and you have some good people and some bad people, and you may have hostages right now. You know, you have the hostages possibly there. They don't know where they are. And you know, I have a Saturday deadline, and I don't think they're going to make the deadline personally. I think they want to play tough guy, but we'll see how tough they are. But it's going to be a wonderful thing. It's going to be wonderful for the Middle East. I think it'll turn the Middle East. I think you're going to have peace in the Middle East. You're going to eventually have peace in the Middle East.
Couldn't this deadline risk undermining the talks that you're having with the king today, and risk the kind of wider peace that you're trying to?
Because that's not. We're not talking about a big situation. We're talking about something that can go very quickly. We're talking about it's going to go quickly. It's not going to take a long time. Okay. That's not going to take a long time. You know bullies? You know what a bully is, right? You know the bully, I've always, and I found it throughout my life, a bully is the weakest person. And they're bullies. Hamas is bullies. The weakest people are bullies. You know that, right? All right, go ahead.
Mr. President, you were saying that Palestinians will live somewhere else safe. Where exactly do you want them to live?
Well, it's not where I want them to live. It's going to be where we ultimately choose as a group. And I believe we'll have a parcel of land in Jordan. I believe we'll have a parcel of land in Egypt. We may have someplace else, but I think when we finish our talks, we'll have a place where they're going to live very happily and very safely. And, you know, don't forget, they only want to be on the Gaza Strip because they don't know anything else. They've never had an alternative. And they don't want to be on the Gaza Strip, but they have no choice. They have to be. And they're being killed there at levels that nobody's ever seen. No place in the world is like as dangerous as the Gaza Strip. They don't want to be there. They have no alternative. When they have an alternative, not one person will want to stay where they are. Nobody wants to stay there. They're living in hell. It's a death trap.
Mr. President, how do you know that the Palestinians don't want to leave their land? Some people say this is ethnic cleansing. You won't be able to force them to leave their land.
We're moving them to a beautiful location where they have new homes, where they can live safely, where they'll have doctors and medical and all of those things, and I think it's going to be great. Yeah, any questions?
King Abdullah, what do you think about the U.S. taking over the Gaza Strip? Do you want to see the U.S. own the Gaza Strip?
Well, I think, as I said earlier, the president is looking at Egypt coming to present their plan. As I said, we will be in Saudi Arabia to discuss how we can work with the president and with the United States. So I think let's wait until the Egyptians can come and present it to the president and not get ahead of ourselves.
And is there a parcel of land in Jordan that you're willing to have Palestinians?
Well, I think what we said, I have to look at the best interests of my country. I think the president is very happy that we do this thing with 2,000 children as quickly as possible. And again, I believe that the president is looking forward to getting a group of us Arabs here to discuss the overall plan.
And last question, the 2,000 children, are those from the Gaza Strip?
Absolutely, from the Gaza Strip.
Are you willing to change your mind, Mr.
That's
President?
from the Gaza Strip, the 2,000.
Are you willing to change your mind if you hear the Egyptian and the Arab plan end of the month? If they present you something different, are you open?
I think we sort of have gone down the line. We know pretty much what is going to be presented. And I think it's going to be something that's going to be magnificent for the Palestinians. They're going to be in love with it. I did very well with real estate. I can tell you about real estate. They're going to be in love with it.
But Mr. President, does it concern you that moving 2 million people from there?
It's a very small number of people relative to other things that have taken place over the decades and centuries. It's a very small number of people. And they're living a terrible life. Look at the way they're living now. Nobody's living like that in the entire world. They're living under buildings that are mostly fallen down and will continue to fall down. And they're living under. People are being killed every day. The conditions are horrible. There are no conditions anywhere in the world that are worse than the Gaza Strip right now.
But don't you
But
have
Mr.
concern
President,
that you
you
can
said all
destabilize
hell-
Jordan and
You said all
Egypt?
hell will break out if all the hostages are not released on Saturday. What did you mean by that? And are you encouraging Netanyahu to walk away from this deal? Have you talked about this with him?
So I've looked at at the condition of people coming out of the hostage situation, and it's horrible. I looked at the before and after yesterday. 3 young men. One is dead now, as you know, the older gentleman who died, which everybody said he was alive and well. He's dead. But the 3 young men, and I looked at them from a short while ago, and I looked at them now. They're emaciated. They look like Holocaust survivors. They looked. I mean, they'll get better, but they're in rough shape. They were treated really badly, and we've heard things from them since. And I think the reason that Hamas is playing so cute is because they saw the reaction to these 3 people that came out, and the other ones. Look, the one young lady had her hand blown off practically, and they were not in great shape either. But she's missing her fingers and a big part of her hand. You know what she did? She was stopping a bullet that was aimed at her. She went like that, then it blew off her hand. Now, I think I think they want time, because I think the people that they have living are in such bad shape, because they're sending the most healthy people out because they don't want to send the least healthy people out. And there was an uproar when they saw the people from yesterday. So these people are, so I don't want to do 2 and then we do another 2 in another week and then we do 4 in 3 weeks. No. They either have them out by Saturday at 12 o'clock or all bets are off.
Mr. President, would you still consider withholding aid to those countries if they don't accept your plans to accept?
Well, I don't want to say that, because we've had such a good relationship and we're doing so well just in the short time that we've been talking. I mean, the king just made a statement. I didn't ask him to do that, about literally saving 2,000 young children from the Gaza Strip. We didn't know about that. You didn't know about that. Nobody did, except for the king and his son. I assume you told your son, right? And I just thought it was great. Now, I think we'll do something. I don't have to threaten with money. We contribute a lot of money to Jordan and to Egypt, by the way, a lot, to both. But I don't have to threaten that. I think we're above that. I do believe we're above that. So.
Would you consider other countries, not Jordan and Egypt? There was talks about Indonesia, Albania, other places.
Yeah, sure, we would. And we have other countries that want to get involved. We have a lot of people that want to get involved. There's a great sense of wanting to help the Palestinians. There's a lot of good countries out there, people that rule those countries with big hearts, and this gentleman is at the top of the list.
And if they don't want to leave, how are you going to force them, Mr. President?
Oh, they're going to be great. They're going to be very happy.
Your Majesty, should we
May I-
expect that the
may I-
Jordanian response will be part of a coordinated Arab response?
The response will be from a multitude of countries, Arab, international. I know the Europeans want to step in. And again, we'll probably have to look to the help of the United States to make sure that COGAT, which is the clearing agency on the Israeli side, makes this as efficient as possible, because 2,000 kids, the best way to get to them is by helicopters and get them straight to our institutions. And I also believe that quite a few countries would also probably like to take some of those kids and have them treated in their hospitals. So we hope to launch this ASAP.
Yes, and that's right. This should have been done by the Biden administration, but they didn't do anything. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. So this should have been done by the Biden administration. This should have never happened, because October 7th would have never happened if I were president. 0 chance of happening. You wouldn't have had that whole mess where the Middle East got blown up, and you wouldn't have had Ukraine and Russia fighting. That would have never happened. And by the way, we're making good progress there, I think. I really think we're making some very good progress.
Mr. President, you said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What does that mean?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to get it going eventually where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it could be a diamond. It could be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East. And you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East. Gaza, the way it is right now, every 10 years you're going to have the same thing happening. I've watched it so long, all the death and destruction of Gaza. The civilization's been wiped out in Gaza. No, it's going to be a tremendous thing. It's fronting on the sea. It's going to be a great economic development job. It's going to put people to work, a lot of people to work. And those people are all going to be from the Middle East.
And just to follow up with one on that for King Abdullah, can you clarify again, sir, how do you feel about the U.S. taking Gaza, as the president said?
Well, again, this is something that we, as Arabs, will be coming to the United States with something that we're going to talk about later to discuss all these options.
And Mr. President, take it under what authority? It is sovereign territory.
Under the U.S. authority.
And Mr. President, would you seek to personally develop property in Gaza after this?
No. I've had a great career in real estate.
Mr.
I
President,
don't, you know, when you've done what I've done in the last number of years, including the 4 years that we should have been doing something else, frankly, because people see that now for sure. But when you've done what I've done, you can just do more good for people when you're president. When you're president, we can do things. This is all things that should have been done, but actually things that shouldn't have had to be done. Gaza, absolutely, it would have been so great if the Biden administration would have started this. But actually, in all fairness to them, they should have never let it happen. It did happen, and because of the fact that they let this happen, this catastrophe of October 7th, something like this becomes practical and very real, meaning the development and all of the things that I've talked about with respect to the Gaza Strip. If you didn't have the October 7th catastrophe, and it was a horrible catastrophe, then probably you wouldn't be talking about that. But the only thing I can say is this is going to bring stability and peace to the Middle East. And ultimately, when it's developed, which will be in quite a while from now, because we want to let things calm down. But when it's developed, it's going to bring tremendous numbers of jobs to the Middle East, including the people of your country.
What if it does not bring peace to the Middle East? There are many Palestinians, even though you say that everything is going to be beautiful, everything is going to be lovely, and they're not going to want to go back. There are going to be people who want to go back and feel like that it is their right to do that. You haven't said, will there be any type of repercussions or anything that happens?
We don't think that's going to happen. We think people are going to be very happy, thrilled. A lot of those people that you're talking about are going to end up maybe living there and maybe working there, but it'll be in a different form. We have had tremendous support for this project, and we think the biggest asset of the project is going to bring peace ultimately to the Middle East. All right.
Mr. President, one last question.
Go ahead, behind you. You've asked enough.
Mr. President, one of your promises on the campaign trail is to bring peace to the Middle East. It was a promise to your Arab voters here. The Arab voters in the United States oppose this. What do you say to them?
Well, you know, if you look at Michigan, where we have a large Arab population, as you know, I was just telling the King that we won. As you know, I won the Arab population. Now, when I started off, I wasn't leading, and when I finished, a few months later, we started campaigning in Michigan. And when I finished, we won it by a tremendous amount, by 30 points. So my relationship with the Arab population has been fantastic, and my relationship with the Middle East is very good with all the countries, just about all the countries. Let's see, I would say all the countries. And they all want to do something, and they want to see peace in the Middle East. All the stories you hear about the Middle East not really wanting peace, that they want war, they want this, they want to go a certain place. Let me tell you, those stories are false. They want to have peace. I know them all very well. They want to have peace. They want to have a good life like other people. And this will be a big factor in bringing peace to the Middle East. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys.
Korea Utara mengecam rencana Presiden Amerika Serikat Donald Trump yang ingin mengambil alih jalur Gaza. Menurut Pyongyang, rencana tersebut menghancurkan harapan warga Palestina untuk bisa hidup damai. Media pemerintah Korea Utara KCNA melaporkan informasi tersebut pada Rabu 12 Februari 2025. Pyongyang mengibaratkan kondisi dunia saat ini seperti panci bubur akibat pernyataan mengejutkan dari Amerika. Tak hanya soal Gaza, Korea Utara juga mengkritik rencana kontroversial lain di bawah pemerintahan Donald Trump. Di antaranya seruan untuk mengambil alih terusan Panama dan Greenland, serta keputusan mengubah nama Teluk Meksiko menjadi Teluk Amerika. Pyongyang lantas menyebut Amerika Serikat sebagai negara perampok, mengalami delusi hingga ketinggalan zaman. Oleh karena itu, Korea Utara berharap agar Washington segera sadar bahwa rencananya melanggar kedaulatan negara lain. Di sisi lain, Trump mengaku ingin kembali menjalin hubungan dengan pemimpin tertinggi Korea Utara Kim Jong-un. Ia mengklaim hubungannya dengan Kim sangatlah akrab, seperti yang terlihat saat periode pertamanya menjabat sebagai presiden. Pemimpin gerakan Ansarullah Yaman Sayyid Abdul Malik Al-Houthi kembali mengancam Israel dengan serangan rudal. Ancaman ini muncul di tengah rapuhnya gencatan senjata di jalur Gaza. Dikutip dari Al-Arabiya pada Rabu 12 Februari, Al-Houthi menegaskan kelompoknya siap untuk meningkatkan serangan terhadap musuh jika Gaza kembali diserang. Baru-baru ini militan Hamas mengancam akan berhenti membebaskan sandera Israel karena Zionis melanggar perjanjian gencatan senjata. Namun Israel justru mengancam balik Hamas akan mengakhiri gencatan senjata jika tidak ada sandera yang dibebaskan akhir pekan ini. Perdana Menteri Benyamin Netanyahu bahkan telah menginstruksikan pasukannya agar bersiap kembali menggempur Gaza. Menurutnya, peperangan akan berlanjut sampai Hamas berhasil dikalahkan. Hal senada juga disampaikan Menteri Pertahanan Israel Katz. Ia menyebut militernya berada pada tingkat kesiapan tertinggi untuk kembali menyerang Gaza. Perusahaan keamanan Amerika Serikat UG Solutions merekrut hampir 100 veteran pasukan khusus untuk dikerahkan ke jalur Gaza. Mereka ditugaskan untuk membantu menjalankan pos pemeriksaan di jalur Gaza Palestina selama gencatan senjata Israel Hamas. Dikutip dari The Times of Israel pada Rabu 12 Februari, juru bicara UG Solutions mengatakan bahwa tentara bayaran hanya fokus memeriksa kendaraan. Sebagaimana diketahui, lalu lintas di Gaza kembali beroperasi termasuk truk bantuan kemanusiaan. Setiap kendaraan yang keluar atau masuk harus melalui pemeriksaan ketat. UG Solutions mengatakan pihaknya menggaji setiap tentara bayaran sebesar $1.000 atau sekitar 17 juta rupiah per hari. Sejumlah tentara bayaran yang sudah direkrut langsung dikerahkan ke pos pemeriksaan. Namun UG Solutions tidak merinci jumlah pasti pekerja bayaran di jalur Gaza. Video yang dipublikasikan secara online memperlihatkan tentara bayaran Amerika sedang bekerja di pos pemeriksaan dekat Netzarim. Mereka tampak mengenakan kacamata dan penutup wajah serba hitam serta bersenjata lengkap. Korea Utara menyoroti sejumlah rencana kontroversial Amerika Serikat di bawah pemerintahan Presiden Donald Trump. Salah satunya adalah ambisi untuk mengambil alih jalur Gaza dan mengusir warga Palestina dari wilayah tersebut. Pada Rabu 12 Februari, media pemerintah Korea Utara KCNA menyebut rencana Trump akan menghancurkan harapan warga Gaza untuk bisa hidup damai. Pyongyang mengibaratkan kondisi dunia saat ini seperti panci bubur akibat pernyataan mengejutkan dari Amerika. Lebih lanjut, Korea Utara juga mengkritik rencana Trump untuk mengambil alih terusan Panama dan Greenland, serta keputusan mengubah nama Teluk Meksiko menjadi Teluk Amerika. Pyongyang lantas menyebut Amerika sebagai negara perampok, mengalami delusi hingga ketinggalan zaman. Oleh karena itu, Korea Utara berharap agar Washington segera sadar bahwa rencananya melanggar kedaulatan dan martabat negara lain. Di sisi lain, Trump mengaku ingin kembali menjalin hubungan dengan pemimpin tertinggi Korea Utara Kim Jong-un. Ia mengklaim hubungannya dengan Kim sangat akrab, seperti yang terlihat saat periode pertamanya menjabat sebagai presiden.
Israel dimungkinkan akan menyerang wilayah jalur Gaza meski telah disepakati perjanjian gencatan senjata. Kelompok militan Yaman Houthi bersumpah akan melancarkan serangan terhadap Israel jika hal itu terjadi. Sumpah tersebut diungkapkan oleh pemimpin Houthi Abdul Malik Al-Houthi pada Selasa 12 Februari 2025. Al-Houthi menegaskan para pejuangnya siap bertempur. Bahkan mereka tak segan meningkatkan serangan terhadap musuh jika eskalasi terulang lagi. Diketahui kesepakatan gencatan senjata di Gaza terancam tak dilanjutkan. Sebelumnya Hamas memberikan kode jika mereka akan berhenti membebaskan sandera Israel. Pasalnya Israel dinilai telah melanggar perjanjian dengan terus menyerang warga Gaza. Rencana Hamas langsung direspon Menteri Pertahanan Israel Katz. Ia menginstruksikan militer untuk berada pada tingkat kesiapan tertinggi di Gaza dan untuk pertahanan dalam negeri. Rencana Presiden Amerika Serikat Donald Trump untuk memindahkan warga Gaza dari Palestina mendapat penentangan dari sejumlah negara. Iran dan Korea Utara menjadi salah satu negara yang tegas mengecam dan menolak. Iran menyebut pemindahan warga Gaza bisa mengancam stabilitas dan keamanan di Timur Tengah. Kecaman ini disampaikan oleh Menteri Luar Negeri Iran Abbas Araghchi. Ia menyebut pengusiran paksa warga Palestina dari Gaza merupakan bagian dari skema untuk melenyapkan Palestina. Bahkan hal ini dianggap pengusiran dengan cara kolonial. Respon serupa juga diungkapkan media Korea Utara pada Rabu 12 Februari. Rencana Trump dinilai menggelikan dan menuduh Washington melakukan pemerasan. Harapan warga Palestina akan keselamatan dan perdamaian disebut sedang dihancurkan oleh proposal tersebut. Dunia saat ini dinilai tengah bergejolak dengan rencana Trump. Korut juga mengkritik pemerintahan Trump atas seruannya untuk mengambil alih terusan Panama. AS diminta segera berhenti menjatuhkan martabat negara lain. Korea Utara mengecam rencana Presiden Amerika Serikat Donald Trump untuk mengambil alih Gaza. Menurut kantor berita pusat Korea atau KJNA yang dikelola pemerintah Korea Utara, pernyataan mengejutkan Trump itu diibaratkan bahwa dunia tengah mendidih seperti panci bubur. Menurut KJNA pada Rabu 12 Februari 2025, Amerika Serikat bisa bertahan hidup melalui tindakan keji dan perampokannya. Bahkan ambisinya yang hegemonik dan invasif untuk menguasai dunia ditunjukkan dengan jelas melalui rencananya di Gaza. Lanjut, lembaga tersebut mengkritik seruan era pemerintahan Trump yang lain, yakni terkait rencananya untuk mengambil alih terusan Panama dan Greenland serta keputusannya untuk mengubah nama Teluk Meksiko menjadi Teluk Amerika. Lantas, KJNA menggambarkan Amerika Serikat sebagai perampok yang kejam. Menurut lembaga tersebut, Amerika Serikat harus segera bangkit dari khayalannya yang sudah tak sesuai dengan zaman. Selain itu harus segera menghentikan tindakan yang melanggar martabat dan kedaulatan negara serta bangsa lain. Sebelumnya rencana Trump dikecam sejumlah pihak, termasuk negara-negara Arab. Kementerian Luar Negeri Saudi menolak tegas sebuah ide Trump yang ingin mengusir warga Palestina dari Gaza. Sementara itu Presiden Palestina yakni Mahmud Abbas menyebut seruan Trump merupakan pelanggaran serius terhadap hukum internasional. Dilaporkan situasi di jalur Gaza kembali memanas, yakni Israel bersiaga mengerahkan pasukannya untuk meluncurkan serangan. Israel bersiap menyerang Gaza imbas pembebasan sandera ditunda. Tindakan tersebut dilakukan buntut perintah Perdana Menteri Israel Benyamin Netanyahu. Dalam pidatonya, Netanyahu memperingatkan akan melanjutkan pertempuran di Gaza. Ancaman itu ditujukan ke Hamas jika pejuang Palestina tak membebaskan sekelompok sandera Israel paling lambat Sabtu 15 Februari 2025. Atas hal itu, militer Israel melakukan peningkatan kesiagaan dengan melibatkan pengiriman pasukan tambahan. termasuk pasukan cadangan sebagai bagian dari persiapan untuk menghadapi berbagai kemungkinan skenario. Kemudian, sebagai langkah antisipasi potensi kekacauan, IDF membatalkan cuti bagi prajurit yang tergabung dalam divisi Gaza. Militer Israel menyatakan akan meningkatkan kewaspadaan di pasukan yang ditempatkan di kawasan Gaza. Sebelumnya, Hamas memang menyatakan menunda pembebasan sandera yang dijadwalkan pada Sabtu 10 Februari 2025. Menurut Hamas, Israel telah melakukan pelanggaran perjanjian gencatan senjata.
Perdana Menteri Israel Benjamin Netanyahu menyatakan gencatan senjata Gaza akan berakhir Sabtu mendatang 15 Februari 2025. Netanyahu menegaskan militer Israel akan melanjutkan serangan jika Hamas tidak membebaskan para sandera. Dikutip dari warta kotalive.com, keterangan ini disampaikan Perdana Menteri Israel Benjamin Netanyahu Selasa 11 Februari 2025. Dirinya mengatakan Hamas menanggapi ultimatum tersebut dengan menuding Israel telah melanggar perjanjian gencatan senjata.